Welcome everyone to Thursday's Thought Leadership. Today I have the team from SoFresh on here with me, and we are going to talk about the latest technology that is going to storm the baking industry. So let's dig in. Welcome Bill, welcome Toby.
Hi Lynn.
Hi Lynn.
So Bill and Toby, who came up with SoFresh's idea on an innovative new packaging technology?
That would be Bill.
So Toby and I have known each other for 30 years. We started working on this in 2000. So that's 20 years ago.
Wow.
And we worked on it for the Hefty brand, which is, trash bags, food bags. And they asked us to come up with a way to extend the shelf life of food in the refrigerator for consumers.
Wow.
And that was Toby's department, and I helped him develop that product for bacteria. So it wasn't for bread, it was just for food and bacteria.
So you know all about bacterial growth and what affects them and what technology to use that applies to preventing their growth?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there a specific bacteria that you're focusing on, or just broad spectrum?
So back then we were focusing on bacteria, but Toby did a test about 2 years ago, and he discovered that it works even better on mold. And he tested bread, and we said, why didn't we think of this before? And we started putting together lots of tests and ideas on how to put this together, and that's when we formed SoFresh.
Wow. So nobody thought of using it on mold.
Well, back in 2000, we realized that we had a bunch of different types of antibacterials and antimicrobials that we were testing, trying to get the right one. And we sort of stumbled on, if we just use plain white bread that we got from a local bakery, it very repeatedly would spoil, and it would spoil by mold.
Yep.
And so we used that as a template in the lab just to sort of figure out what would work and what wouldn't work. And we had a lot of them that didn't work. But when we got back together, last probably 3 years ago, that's when we looked at the problem, we looked at food waste. We said, we can solve mold. And what molds today? Bread, berries, shredded and sliced cheese. Those are big things that I know we toss out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we could solve that problem, that would be huge.
It is huge.
That's
And
what we focused on.
Because mold need oxygen to thrive, and the latest, what we have at hand right now are either oxygen scavengers or, matte packaging, which deprive the environment of oxygen. So I was looking at this, I'm like, the bags that you sent me, and I was just thinking, there's no way that you can stop oxygen from going into a normal bread bag, right? So what's the secret?
Yeah. So we were able to put an active ingredient, it's a liquid, inside the film, and then allow this liquid, when you load the bread into the bag, the liquid evaporates through the film and into the atmosphere around the bread. So it's just like MAP packaging, except instead of having carbon dioxide and nitrogen, what we put in the atmosphere is an active antimicrobial, antifungal ingredient that is actually a food.
I was just going to ask. Yeah. Is it safe for consumption?
It is, because it is a grass food ingredient that is on a CFR list of the FDA. So if you look it up and other ingredients like that, you can use any of them as ingredients in food. Instead of putting it in the food, we put it in the plastic, and eventually it migrates into the atmosphere around the food.
Interesting. So, kind of like a tangent question. So how about the people operating, right? Like at the bagging station, would they smell that? That's my question, my concern too.
So we are, our current phase of the product, they will smell a slight amount of the ingredient, but in our future phase of the product, what we're doing is we're creating a way for the bag to start releasing the ingredient once the bread is packed inside the bag. So once you seal the bag, the ingredient, then the humidity raises because the bread has humidity, and then the ingredient is allowed to flow out from the film.
And you are very sure that there are no residual aromas on the baked product?
Yes, we've done testing. Toby?
Yeah, we've done organoleptic testing at a university here close to in Wisconsin, and there is no organoleptic issue with the bread ingredient. And so we've designed the package so that the active ingredient comes out in the first 6 hours, and after 24 hours, you no longer can have any sense of that active ingredient at all. And so from, before the product is even on its way to the store, it will no longer have the smell of the active ingredient. Okay, and so we are definitely a processing aid, just like it would be if it was nitrogen or CO2. And so in my mind, we are developing a MAP package, okay, out of the plastic film that is on a wicket. So you don't need any expensive packaging equipment.
I was just going to ask, it looks like plug and play for a lot of bakeries with just a quick lock or a, twist tie. So that's not much expense going on into new equipment.
Yeah, and that
packaging.
That is because Bill and I have come out of the manufacturing packaging business. And so we know we need to make this as easy as possible for bakeries to adapt. So we knew early on we had to have an active ingredient that was a food ingredient that had antifungal, anti-mold properties. And we knew we had to be able to make a package that could be plug and play at the bakeries.
That's amazing that someone has actually, the inventors of the hefty, storage system has come up with this innovation for the baking industry. My important question is, how many days will it last in this package?
That's a great question. So we have a graph where we did a test, a long-term test. It took about 60 days. And we used various concentrations of the active ingredient in film, in bags. Mm-hmm. And so we use a specific kind of bread that has absolutely no preservatives. And we monitored these bread loaves. So we used 250 bread loaves and in a big room at the University of Wisconsin, and we had people watching them every day. And so the graph was extremely linear. That means as we increased the amount of the active ingredient, we were able to go from 5 days extra all the way to 30 days extra. And with that was just where we decided to stop. But we also have done tests where we can see 35, 40, 50 days of shelf life increase, depending on how we configure the film. And we have a knob in our process that controls that. So if somebody wants a 20-day shelf life, we can control that and give them a 20-day extension of shelf life.
You know what's going on in my head right now?
No.
I don't think you want to know. Okay, so I could actually use this innovatively in a lot of, especially bread products, because that's where my background is, right? Like you can think about not freezing your bread anymore for distribution, right? You can think about just using one manufacturing facility to cover a wide region, right? Based on just packaging alone. And I can think about saving so much money on using ingredient preservatives, right? And I can even get a longer shelf life by using the same ingredient, like in a cultured wheat or a calcium propionate, and get a longer shelf life, okay? And I can even think of even cutting back on cooling time significantly so I can package in these things for extra cost savings. So a lot of things that are going on inside my head right now, which really, I don't know if you guys have considered those aspects in terms of your cost reduction, right? So have you done any studies there?
Yes, we have. So, and there's a few more. So we're really able to get to that food waste. And so the USDA came up and said, of the grain products, the bakery products, about 31% actually of bakery products that are produced don't get consumed. Wow. So 19 is with the consumer, 19%, and that's us having it on the shelf and it going bad or getting stale and throwing it out. But 12% is with the bakery and distribution.
Wow.
You can stop that 12%, then for every 100 loaves of bread that we make, you're going to sell 100 instead of only selling 88.
Do you know how many bakeries out there will love that right now? Make 100 and sell 100?
Yeah, and
a lot don't do that.
You get free capacity. That's 12%, open oven time now, because you're not having to overproduce only for it to be, thrown out.
Away.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We've broken up the whole supply chain and looked at every one of those facets. If you get rid of Calpro or other ingredients and dough conditioners, we have a good estimate on what that cost savings is. If you don't have to freeze, we have a very good estimate at that cost. It's anywhere from 43 to 55 cents a loaf if you don't have to flash freeze and keep in cold storage for distribution. And so if we can give you 30 days, you can save all that money.
That's amazing. I think that's going to help a lot of bakeries with their bottom line, especially during these times, So
I agree.
Has it hit you guys that you're going to be selling a lot of these? Like, I'm not even joking, a lot.
I hope so. And so we are positioned to scale quickly. We have some contract manufacturers that are going to be able to support us. We have a production line that we're going to have capable shortly to make product. We're in a couple pilots already. And so we have, the wheels are starting to turn. And we have a ton of support behind us. And so if we need to grow quick, we can grow quick.
That's awesome, because one day I would like to say, I met those guys. They were amazing. They changed the way the baking industry packaged the goods. And I am so glad to have you guys on today. It's a pleasure, and definitely a pleasure that we will be working with you as sponsors. And before we leave, you are going to be growing an incredibly big company in a really fast rate. Do you have any leadership tips for the rest of us?
Well, the great thing about this is I think we're doing something that's really sustainable. We're really going to save food from being wasted. And it's a social movement. And instead of costing money, I think we can save money for the whole supply chain. Our goal is to feed more people better food for less money and no waste. And so that's really what we want to do. And we want people to jump on to the team with us and help us grow. And there's no bad ideas. It's really a team that has to deliver it. It's not Bill and I. we started this, we are not going to end it. We're going to have a team that's going to do it. And Bill, what's your thoughts on leadership?
Yeah, so to me, leadership starts with innovation. And you've got to come up with an idea that helps fellow colleagues and people in the industry. And then what you want to do is work with them to create avenues to deliver that idea. And that's really what we're doing. We want to work with everybody in the bakery industry, and we want to be team members with all our customers, and we want to deliver this innovation to help them and help their customers and help as many people as we can.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on to Thought Leadership Thursday with me, Bill and Toby. I am so excited about your product, and we look forward to hearing more from you.
Thank you very much for having us.